Growing up, you could call me a little bit of a bookworm. I liked reading. What I didn't like was being forced to read, because sometimes reading was a wee bit boring. Luckily, I wasn't really forced to read any books, since I already read a lot. I read stuff like Holes, Harry Potter, literally every Captain Underpants book in existence. I didn't, however, get into Geronimo Stilton. I just didn't like them. There was, however, one type of book genre I would always be hooked on. Comics and graphic novels. These are peak because they were practically movies in book form. It was so cool to see how a story unfolded with all the characters. And best part, they were pictures! Okay, sometimes imagining everything in your head can be tedious, so whenever I wanted to read a book but not use my brain that much, I would turn to comics. I see some people say, but the drawings in comics ruin the immersiveness of a story, which is fair, but also, no, the pictures don't make a story any less grand. In fact, because there are pictures, it opens more doors to story opportunities, like show don't tell. Sometimes whenever I pick up a comic, it feels like I'm in a fever dream, and I love it! Okay, to be fair, not every comic is like a fever dream. There are some grounded ones too. A comic can be about anything. It is a movie in pages. Yes, I know regular books do that too, and I love those kinds of books as well. But I feel as if though I get more immersed in a comic book than I do in a chapter book. But that's just a preference thing, so if you like chapter books more power to you. There are some comic tropes I don't really jazz with though, like how in every superhero comic, if a character dies, 9 times out of 10 they will come back faster than William Afton in a new FNAF game.
I always come.
Or how for a long-running comic, they break continuity faster than your grandpa's hip walking down the stairs.
Oh, my back.
I also don't like how sometimes when you finish an issue, you don't know where to turn next because this one story is spread across like 5 separate books. I am getting Spider-Man Clone Saga trauma flashbacks. I swear that story took like 6 years off my life. My point is, if you want to get into Spider-Man comics today, you'll have to go back and read like 1,000 issues to understand the story. And you probably still won't understand the story because it's a hot mess filled with contradictions. So if you want to get into comics, I recommend the Sonic IDW one since they're still selling the entire series, and the run only has a few spin-offs, which are like, 4 issues long. It doesn't get really weird and the characters are good, and it really is a great story too. I'm totally not biased, why would you say that? I will say that you need to know some stuff from the games to understand some aspects of the story, but you can just watch a 10-minute video on all that stuff and you'll be fine. I see a lot of people say that comics aren't real books, and I see where they're coming from, but I completely disagree. Comics have words, a story, and a spine, so I chalk it up to being a book. So what if it has pictures? That just adds to the overall experience. There are so many different types of books other than chapter books. We have cookbooks, biographies, tutorials, and so much more. Those aren't like chapter books, but they're still books. If those are all books, I count comics as a book. A lot of people say that comics are for nerds and geeks, which isn't true at all. If it were true, that would mean I would never touch a comic, because I'm not a geek. Yes, a lot of nerds read comics, but a lot of your favorite movies are based off comics, so doesn't that make you a geek? There is a fine line between reading comics for enjoyment or just, I don't know, being a nerd. I don't know what the line is, you can make your own boundaries, but as long as you're enjoying yourself, sure, you'll be fine. Another type of comic I like are the ones they use in newspapers. You know, like Peanuts, Big Nate, and all these other ones. These comics were TikTok before TikTok. 4 panels and a joke on each page. I love it. Instead of scrolling, grab a book like this and you'll be treated to wholesome jokes on each page. Another type of comic? Manga, or manga, whatever. I never got into manga. If you like any anime, it's most likely the story originated as a manga. Many people prefer manga over its anime because it doesn't have any filler, and any filler it does have, it's usually meaningful. I got into anime as a kid, but not so much manga. I just wanted to see them moving, I guess. Also, I liked a lot of the filler. My first real exposure to comics was from the Captain Underpants books. In every book, the 2 main characters, George and Harold, made comics, and I just loved the format, and that's when I started writing comic books. I made a book called Scarred where I tried to be serious, but it was not serious at all. Everything was ironically funny. I then started making a bunch of comics I didn't finish until I got into the 5th grade. At that time, I got really into Archie Sonic comics, so I wanted to make my own Sonic comic book volume. Sonic Chaos! I was really proud of this comic when I finished it, mainly because it was over 100 pages. In the 6th grade, I started a sequel that I never finished, and that's where I stand today. Not a single comic in sight. I want to make my own professional comic one day, but since I wanted to make it professional, I've never had time to actually, make it. Maybe one day I will, or maybe not, I can do whatever the heck I want. After watching this whole video, I hope you start getting into comics in a healthy way. Anyway, thanks for watching my love letter to comics, bye bye!
Holy cow, I posted a video. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Thank you for all the fan art I've gotten. I'm extremely grateful, and as a token of my gratitude, I got a Discord server. Come join it. It's in the description of this video and the description of my channel. This is my first end card. I'm not using a script, so I'm gonna keep it short. Bye!